Simplifying radicals. When we learn about simplifying radicals, there's two properties that we need to be aware of. And one is the product property. And what that says is if you have a square root of a times b, that's going to equal the square root of a times the square root of b. And you can put numbers in there to see that it's true. If a equals 4 and b equals 9, let's test this property out. So we have the square root of a times b, which if a is 4, we'll put in 4 times b, which is 9. And we want to test to make sure that it's equal to the square root of 4 times the square root of 9. So 4 times 9, well, that's 36. So the square root of 36. And that should equal the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of 9, which is 3. So the square root of 36 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So 6 does equal 2 times 3. So this property stands, the product property. So that's something we need to be aware of, is that the square root of a times b equals the square root of a times the square root of b. And one way that we'll use this is when you need to simplify a radical. So let's say you have the square root of 72. If I want to find the square root of 72, I can simplify this by writing it as the square root of 36 times 2, the square root of 36 times 2, and then I could rewrite that as the square root of 36 times the square root of 2. And what this lets me do is, since I already know the square root of 36 is 6, I can write this as 6 times the square root of 2. And this would be a simpler version of the square root of 72. Okay, so the square root of 72 is the same thing as 6 times the square root of 2. Now, the next property, the quotient property, says that if you have the square root of a over b, that's the same thing as the square root of a over the square root of b. So the square root of a divided by b is the same thing as the square root of a divided by the square root of b. And this is useful too if you had the square root of 9 over 25, that's going to be equal to the square root of 9 over the square root of 25. And you can rewrite that as, well, the square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And then the square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So the square root of 9 over 25 equals 3/5.